Yeah, this is Jen. I'm on the phone too.
Yay! Sorry, guys.
Are we missing anyone else?
Yeah, we're probably missing some people, but I would say let's go forward.
Alrighty, so let's, I apologize again for the issues with the WebEx. As usual, it seems to happen when you need it most. But to get started tonight, I just want to welcome everyone to the call. This call includes the executive committee plus all of our subcommittee members. So I'm really excited to have everyone together. And again, apologize that we can't all talk and share ideas, it sounds like. So bear with us and we'll try to do our best. I'm John Leahy. I'm one of the co-chairs with Gloria. Gloria is currently on mute right now. I think she may still be at work. So she apologizes she won't be able to chime in. But yes, Gloria is on as well. A couple of announcements before we get rolling tonight. One of our executive committee members, Dave Muddock, has stepped down from his role on the recruitment committee and the board. We're sad to see him go, but he's on to new and different endeavors, but we really appreciate all the work Dave did bring to the committee over the last 3 years. So if everyone has time, please reach out to Dave. Just thank him for his work and wish him the best on his new work in the road ahead. Next thing I had on my list was we're doing something new. We're going to have a ambassador of the month. So each month we'll take nominations from each of the committees for an ambassador on your group that has gone above and beyond. And this month we're going to recognize the athlete engagement co-chairs. That's Lindsay and Lisa have recognized Amy Nakai for all the work she's done on social media. And I'll read this to you guys. She is our social media queen. Because of her, we've seen a huge upswing in members and posting in the marathon group. People are starting to feel comfortable posting their daily workouts and such thanks to Amy. She makes sure to post daily and comment on other members' posts as well. She always represents Smile Train when out running and racing by wearing team gear. Amy has been targeting people all over social media in an effort to recruit for Berlin as well as other events. Not only is Amy a great ambassador, she continues to be a rock star fundraiser by continuing to fundraise through her Jamberry nail business. Amy has funded tons of smiles. For these reasons, we'd like to thank Amy for all the work she's done as the ambassador of the month. So I don't know if I heard that Amy's on the call or if she's listening in, but a big thanks to her for her and her work. And I went on Facebook today to make sure to friend Amy and make sure you guys get out there and try to follow in her footsteps on social media. And again, we really, really appreciate it. So thank you, Amy. Tonight, we're going to go around the room. We're going to ask the chairs that are able to talk to share a little bit, a little background on their committee, introduce their members, read each of their names, and then talk about anything you're working on. Then we'll finally finish up with an open forum. So I think I heard Lindsay earlier. So Lindsay, did you want to kick it off with athlete engagement?
I don't know if her audio was working.
Well, let's go. Okay, let's go to, hey, Matt, are you available to talk a little bit?
Yep, as long as the kids don't come down.
All right, Matt, go ahead. Thank you.
So I am now the chair of the recruitment committee, formerly the co-chair of Dave. So again, sad to see him go. Obviously, my role as part of the recruitment committee is to primarily focus on recruiting athletes to the events. I'm not sure if anybody but Nancy is on our call who's part of our committee. Nancy also shares the San Diego Regional Recruitment Committee with Brian. But some of our members include Brandon Goodermont from California, John Buckner from Texas, Richard Gillespie from California, Nancy as well from California, and then Mike McGregor. I think I might have heard him on the call, from San Diego as well, who is also part of the San Diego Regional Recruitment Committee. So some of the things that we've had, we hold monthly Google Hangout meetings, and go over some of the initiatives that we have pertaining to recruitment. Some of it, it's been nice with a couple of the regional recruitment committee members, subcommittee members on our group, such as Nancy, who's forwarded some of the initiatives that she's been working with Brian to kind of spread the word and the wealth a little bit to others as part of our committee. And then Brandon has been working with his company to try and develop some personalized marketing materials for endorsing or supporting Smile Train and trying to recruit at events, putting hang tags on bikes. Nancy as well has been doing that, as well as the rest of the group. One of the things that I am going to be looking at doing myself personally, if anybody wants to jump on board with this, is holding a recruitment as well as fundraising bike ride in Central Ohio, and trying to work with Michelle Diedrich, who's on the engagement committee since she lives in the area, to try and support that as well. So we're in the initial planning stages of that. Is there anything else that you would like me to bring up or go over, John? Or
anything we can help you on right now, Matt, or any upcoming stuff you guys are working on outside of that?
Sure. Well, some of the priority recruitments right now are, Mont Tremblant is the next, 70.3 is the next event that's coming up on the 25th. It's probably unlikely that we get any more recruitment for that, but if it's possible, any pushing for recruiting for that, unless Sarah has anything to say about that, I would still do. Berlin Marathon, again, anybody correct me if I'm wrong with these numbers, but that's on 9/24. We still have 7 spots left. So those are the upcoming events that we still need to fill. And then we've got Ironman World Championships as well in October. That's pretty high in terms of recruitment need of filling, I believe, 2 slots or 1 slot for that. So pushing any recruitment efforts, social media, in person, etc., to help support those from anybody would be appreciative.
Yeah, and John and Matt, I'll just jump in. It's Sarah here. So, really our main priority with recruitment is the fall season. Tremblant's pretty much done. So we really want to be pushing the Berlin Marathon, as well as Ironman Arizona. We do still have spots for that, as well as our spring season races, which we've started to open up. But, one of the things that the recruitment committee is starting to work on is recruiting in the local communities, and that's really something, and one of the reasons we want to get everyone on the call is we want everyone recruiting. We want everyone telling everybody about Smile Train. So the recruitment committee's, working on kind of packaging some materials and stuff like that, but if you have a local race coming up in your community, if you know a bike store owner or a running store, and you see those postcards, there's a lot of postcards out there that from different charities, and if our stuff can be out there as well, that would be great. So if you're willing to do that, let us know, and Christina and myself, we can send you out some materials.
What Sarah said.
Thank you, Matt, and thank you, Sarah.
Yeah. So, but anybody, certainly reach out to me as well and the rest of the recruitment committee if you are working on stuff or would like ideas on how to approach people, whether that's at local stores or events, just to brainstorm ideas, because again, it is a collaborative effort amongst all of us. So, yeah.
Thank you, Matt.
Welcome.
Let's move on to our fundraising committee. With Jeff or Amanda. Are you guys
Brian, can you guys hear
me? Yep, Brian, we hear you.
Good.
All right, this is Jeff. Can you hear me okay?
Loud and clear.
Perfect. All right, I'm Jeff Krebs, for those of you who don't know me. Amanda Allen and I are your co-chairs for the fundraising committee. We have 5 committee members: Carol Caruth, Carol's from Arizona, John Cartmel from San Diego, California, Ross Hennessy from San Diego, California, John Patterson from Arizona, Arjun Iyengar from Utah, and I told you Amanda is from Texas. I think I got everybody there. We primarily assist athletes one-on-one with their fundraising efforts. You've probably seen on the weekly emails that go out to the various athletes a link if someone wants to have fundraising assistance, and that link takes them to a little survey that they fill out, and then Amanda and I get that information, and then we distribute the athletes accordingly to our committee members. There has also been the same link posted multiple times on Facebook posts and the various Facebook groups. But as you are all out there dealing with athletes, whether you're recruiting, whether you're involved with training with some of them or any other activities, if anyone stresses a concern about fundraising, please get their names, phone numbers, contact Amanda or me, or have them contact us directly, and then we can help them with their fundraising. Besides helping the athletes one-on-one with their fundraising efforts, we have a couple other projects that we are just about to roll out to our committee. One is that we are going to be putting together a list, if you will, maybe even a guide to successful fundraisers. It's mostly going to list what has been done in the past that has been very successful. And the other thing that we're now starting to look at are incentive items that we may be able to use in the future to incentivize early and brisk fundraising. So in the next few weeks, Amanda and I are going to be meeting with our committee members. We're going to be putting together this fundraising guide, and we're also going to be talking about what useful incentives we might be able to come up with to help people fundraise a little bit earlier, because what we've seen in the years past is that people start their training, they forget about fundraising, and then the couple months before the event, they start panicking and have a difficult time. So that is basically what we are doing right now. If anyone has any questions, I'm happy to entertain it. Oh, by the way, Amanda is just boarding her flight to Wisconsin. She's doing Ironman Wisconsin 70.3 this weekend, so she apologizes for not being on the call. She's actually listening right now. I'm getting messages from her that she's listening, but she can't speak. Any questions? Any additions?
Jeff, is there anything we can help you with, anything outside of encouraging athletes to come see you for fundraising advice?
I think that's the biggest thing, really. We have a handle on everything else. The concern that Amanda and I have is that as we get closer, especially to the bigger events like IMAZ, that starting in September, October, we're going to start getting a barrage of people who have not even come close to their fundraising minimum, and it's going to be a little bit of an onslaught for us, and it's also going to be difficult to come up with good fundraisers, for example, that they can hold to a large portion of their fundraising minimum, because these fundraisers take time to plan. Many of you have probably seen on Facebook. By the way, those of you who don't know me, I use a pseudonym for Facebook. It's J. Scott. And So many of you have seen that I just held a fundraiser last weekend, or weekend before this past. I held a poker night. It was very successful, but it takes a lot of planning, and it's not something that I throw together in 1 or 2 weeks. So if we're going to be able to successfully help the athletes, we really need to interface with them early on. And because fundraising, as you all know, tends to be a multi-pronged approach. There's the ask via email and Facebook, but oftentimes people need to put on some sort of a fundraiser or do something else in addition. So we want to really help the athletes sooner rather than later.
Hey Jeff, this is Matt. Just a question. I'm just curious. Will there be any effort, like as deadlines get closer, or in terms of looking at people who haven't come close or had any sort of movement in their fundraising lately, that you guys will actually reach out to them, or is that not really the approach? I'm just kind of asking.
That's a very good question. Right now, our committee doesn't have access to everybody's fundraising, up-to-date fundraising information, but staff does. And so we had a phone call with staff 2 weeks ago, and I think what's going to happen, and Sarah, Christina, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that they will be sort of monitoring, and then they can refer people over to us. I don't think it's in the purview of our committee to start monitoring all of the athletes, because it's a lot of athletes with a lot of, through a lot of different endurance sports events, and we don't have access to those smart sheets to be able to really monitor it. The only possible way that we could monitor it would be to go name by name on everybody's fundraising page, and that would be ridiculous. I mean, it'd just take too long. So I think staff, if they see someone that's going to be a red flag, they will most likely refer to us.
Hey Jeff, I'll pipe in quick on that one. Yeah, the plan this year is Sarah's got some rock stars that do a lot of hand holding for those athletes, and when they do get up to the level they need some help, passing it over to you guys for sure. But one thing I did think of as you were mentioning that is you assemble these ideas for fundraising, as we have the whole group here tonight. If you do have ideas that have been successful, it's a poker night. I hosted a Pinewood Derby. Scott's done a lot of movie nights. Maybe some of these are examples that we could share with the fundraising committee for them to assemble in some sort of a guide, whatever that looks like, to help those athletes in the last minute. So maybe something to think of, Jeff, from the groups.
Yeah, we would love that. And if you have any ideas, please shoot me an email. That would be great. Or shoot Amanda an email, or you can Facebook message me. You should have my email address, but it's very simple. It's jkrebsmd@gmail.com. So just, send over your ideas, because we would love to have a fairly comprehensive guide put together so that people can look at it and say, yes, a poker night's easy for me to do. A movie night's easier. Pinewood Derby maybe too difficult for me, but so it would be nice to have a lot of options for them to choose from.
Very much agree.
Hey Jeff, this is Jen Dearman, and this question's maybe for Sarah, but is there a way that we can connect people who live in the same sort of communities, because maybe they would like to join together and do like a large fundraiser together?
I think, yes, let Sarah address that, but that is a great idea, and that's actually already been done here in San Diego.
Well, I know you guys are the dream team, but but there might be somewhere else in the country that could copy.
Yeah, no, it's thanks to Brian, from whom you'll hear soon. He's really connected a lot of people together, and we've had like a big yoga event that was a fundraising event that was a combination of a couple different athletes doing it together. And so, yeah, I think that's a great idea. We don't have a list, our committee doesn't have a list of all the athletes and where they're located, so it's hard for us to connect them up together. But I think maybe that would be something that the regional teams could do. But Jen, that's a great idea.
Yeah, another thing, Jen, if you want to try something like that, you can always put it out on Facebook and see who's available. We've tried that for Chicago, but definitely there's areas where we have more athletes or more ambassadors where you might find it more worthwhile. And
Yeah.
I know San Diego is a good one. So.
Yeah. Okay.
Cool. Thank you. Thank you, Jeff, too.
You're very welcome.
Is Lindsay available to talk now? Is she unmuted?
Hi, guys. Can you hear me?
We hear you. Go ahead, Lindsay.
Awesome. So Lisa and I are the co-chairs for the Athlete Engagement Committee. Lisa, but we have talked, so I will share her tidbits as well. And we have 4 other people on our committee, Amy, Linnea, Jen, and Michelle. And we are really trying to make our biggest pushes on social media because as like the other committees, we don't have direct access to our athletes' contact information. So the best way for us to get in communication with them that we found is through social media. Each of our committee members has been assigned to a group. We've done some condensing, so now there's a little bit more overlap, but really it kind of just goes across the board for everybody that, I mean, you guys all know that the way social media works is the more people comment and the more people like things, like the higher it gets pushed up. And so that goes for posts about recruitment, posts about fundraising, posts about everything. So we really want to try and make a bigger push to be sharing our workouts in the groups, sharing our fundraisers, sharing ideas. Like Jen said, like if people are in a certain area and want to meet up, Facebook's a great place for that. So if you're posting anything on your own wall that has to do with anything that could be useful to somebody on the team, whether it's a fundraiser, whether it's training, whether it's a question you had or an idea, post it in the groups as well. You can even share your same post because the more that our athletes see that we're posting, the more they're going to feel comfortable posting their own workouts. In the marathon group, we've got about 4 people now who are like posting almost daily with their different workouts, and you know, they've gotten to see like what each other is doing and what the weather's like in different parts of the country, and it definitely just helps them engage better and they'll get to know each other better. So, you know, come race day or race weekend when they meet at the Expo or the team breakfast, it's nice that, you know, they can put a face to the different names and they're actually talking with each other now instead of us having to facilitate all the communication. So that's something that we can definitely continue to use the help of the ambassadors on. You know, if you don't have anything to post that day and you see someone else post, like take 2 seconds to comment. It again helps push that to the top of the feed and it helps, you know, just keep that engagement going. Lisa has also been making calls to some of the alumni. We made some notes on people. Haven't had the best responses on those. She talked to 2 out of the list of over like 100, I believe there were in there. So we're going to try and maybe think of other ways that we can engage alumni better. Again, they are in the Facebook group, so that's our easiest access point for them, but maybe looking into some other ideas and suggestions from people about how to engage better. And then we would love to also get some sort of event calendar type thing on Facebook that people can look and reference where people are racing, especially as we get into like the summer and fall months and more people are doing races, so they can add that in. So we've kind of been playing around with how is the best way to do that. We haven't actually found what the best way is going to be, but maybe something like a Facebook document with just a list of the different dates for that month, and then people can write in what they're racing that day, and again, then people can kind of see if there's people racing the same race, and then hopefully they can kind of talk with them themselves and maybe even arrange to meet up like post-race or pre-race for a picture or something. So again, just trying to find ways that we can keep people talking. We've definitely, and like John said in the beginning of the call, we've definitely seen people getting more comfortable with posting on Facebook and you know, sharing their ideas. We want it to be a free space where people feel comfortable asking for help about their fundraiser, asking the silly training questions that they don't know the answers to, because chances are if they have this question, somebody else does too, or somebody's had it in the past and they have the answer. So that's what our committee has been up to.
Lindsay, this is Brian. I have a question.
Go ahead, Brian.
Oh, sorry. What Facebook group are you having the most success with when it comes to the 100 or something alumni? Because I struggle with which group has the biggest impact.
Yeah, so it's still separated between the Ironman and the marathon teams. Recently, the staff combined the marathons. It was split into fall and spring, and now it's just one marathon group. I think Ironman, correct me if I'm wrong, I think there's still a Tremblant group, but then it seems like everything else is condensed into the one Ironman group. So it's a little split because, again, like it's not all one together, but I think anything triathlon related, probably the Ironman group is the biggest and most successful for that, and then anything that's just strictly running related, the marathon group has been the best for that. And we've seen the most people posting and responding to in the marathon group more than the Ironman group, and I think that's a big part just because people are starting to get comfortable with that, and Amy's been attacking that group, I mean, every single day. She posts multiple times a day, and you know, I think if we did the same thing with the Ironman group, it would get people talking and feeling more comfortable too.
So just to clarify, the people that Lisa was calling the alumni, they are triathlon alumni or they are running alumni?
They were mostly running, I believe. We got the list from Sarah, though.
Okay.
So
Hey, Lindsay, are there any hashtags we should be using more, or anything fun we could do, or anything you guys have found that's worked well? I know the marathons group's been killing it with a few people, but us as a committee, you know, let's post some more workouts. But is there a hashtag we could use?
I know the Team Empower staff came up with Empowered by Smiles. I think it's a great one to share. You know, obviously tagging Smile Train Team Empower in there, or just Smile Train. The marathon group has come up with Didn't Puke, which they think that's their new hashtag. It's been all over the group this week because apparently the humidity in Chicago and all over the world has been really bad. So that somehow got started in there. But yeah, I would say Empowered by Smiles. I think that's a good one, and it hasn't really been pushed out too much. I'm not even sure many people know about that one, so the more we use that, that should drive it. And then our events, I mean, always hashtagging those are good.
Perfect. Well, thank you, Lindsay. We don't want anyone to throw up, so we'll take it.
Yeah, no.
We got about 20 minutes left. I want to leave time for the other groups, but thank you, Lindsay. Is Scott around to talk about his current role?
I am. I'm here. Can you hear me?
We can hear you. Go for it.
All right. Maybe some don't know on the page or on the call. I'm Scott Caduce. I was originally the Arizona committee, but shortly after taking that role, I took a job promotion, which moved me up to Reno, which is out of Arizona. So we're kind of transitioning my roles and responsibilities with the charity. And over the past month or so, once I've been settled down, we've kind of more transitioned towards community partnership. I've had some phone calls with Sarah as far as what can we do for outside partners or ways to maybe get funds towards Team Empower, not towards fundraising, but maybe help cover the cost of race weekend or our shirts that we provide all of our support crew, or maybe support with the camp. So we were kind of coming up with ideas of what we could do, or different levels of fundraising, or not fundraising, but donations to be made through those community partners or swag or other things. So I came up with a few options and a few ideas, and Sarah did as well. Basically, maybe we can do logo placements of these partners at a certain level. If they donate $100 or $1,000, they get a certain amount. If they donate $2,000, so on, so on. So we're doing logo placements on different things, either T-shirts or at camps. Also, we can give them speaking opportunities, or if they want to do a webinar through one of our Facebook groups, again, that'd be another level of donation. or towards, again, Team Empower, not towards an individual. And another one would be obviously our breakfasts that we have for Arizona and Chicago, which are due costs, and we can either cut those costs or they can be able to present during those breakfasts. So I've come up with some letterheads that we're sending out to businesses, and where I could use the help because I am a solo, I don't have any other members, is if anyone has any businesses or ideas that maybe would be able to either donate funds or some kind of swag or something that could help the team, forward those company names to me, and I'll be glad to include the letters, and we can make contact, and I can try to follow up with those, because sometimes they do take, they're labor intensive. I've noticed with a couple community partners I've gotten so far with Smile Train, it's not something that just happens overnight. They are labor intensive, so I'd be glad to kind of tackle each of those as we go along. So again, like I said, if anyone has any ideas, feel free to put them in our ambassador group on Facebook, or call or text or email. That's part of it. And then I've also been working some with some of the local here. We just sent out some letters today to Christina to follow up with some participants that want to try to get other monetary donations for Team Empower, and I wrote some letters for them. I was really successful last year with some letterhead on getting all these gift cards donated that we're able to use for Team Empower. So those are going out to some of the participants to either take to local grocery stores where we can get money, financial gift cards, or items donated. So that's kind of what I'm doing on this side as I transition, and then I think we're going to end up growing the committee, but that's what we have for now.
Thank you, Scott. So if there's any ideas out there for businesses that want to donate cash or help in any way, are the big ones? Anything else we can help you with?
Nothing right now. Like I said, that's really it. Just once we get one that shows some interest, that's where the time takes, the following up with the phone calls and the emails and deciding what would be best for them and what would be best for us. Obviously, we want to try to get the most out of them, but they want to be able to get a return. So no, just if we have any ideas, go ahead and send them this way, and I can go ahead and start the communication.
Cool. Thank you, Scott.
Yep.
All right, we're moving on to Brian with the San Diego regional update.
Cool. Hi, everybody. My name is Brian Lewis, and I'm the regional chair for San Diego for Southern California. I have a committee here that includes Ross Hennessy. Ross is in charge of engaging retail establishments and establishing new partnerships with those retail establishments. Nancy Kim Ross is here in the far reaches of San Diego County up in the mountains. Nancy McKim, who comes to us from Los Angeles County, the top of Los Angeles County, so she travels a long way to come down to the events that we put on, but she's also doing retail engagement up in her area, and then she's in charge of our social media campaign. So anytime we have an event that we're co-sponsoring with somebody or co-organizing with somebody, Nancy's in charge of getting the word out to all the ambassadors, all the local alumni, and all the current athletes as best as we can. And then Mike McGregor, aka Mac, comes to us from San Diego, down in the close to the city. Mac is in charge of athlete event fundraising support, which we haven't had much of this year. We did a couple of events. Jeff mentioned the yoga event that was one of our this year's IMAZ athletes co-organized an event with one of the local, or the local Smile Train, I'm not sure what you call him, Sarah, but Austin from corporate, who happens to be local, who does sponsor engagement with like big corporations, getting them to do exactly what Scott was talking about, give us money. So anyway, that's the one event that we've had, but I'm expecting we're going to do more. And want to make sure Jeff and Amanda realize that MAC is at your disposal. If you have athletes that approach you, we're all at your disposal as Southern California people. If they're in Southern California and they want help organizing and putting on their events, so we can make sure it's a success and not a failure. And then last but not least, John Cartmel, who is also comes to us from East San Diego. And John is in charge of organizing group workouts, which we've kind of just started to try to figure out how we do that, how we engage past athletes, alumni, and current athletes into joining athletic workouts. So our thought is that we're going to piggyback. We're not going to reinvent the wheel. We're going to piggyback the local Tri Club, which has several thousand members, and then piggyback our event partner, who has access to several thousand athletes as well, and just piggyback their weekly, daily events, and see what happens from that. Things we've been working on, since a lot of you weren't on our last month's call, I'll let you know that in April, we participated in a event kickoff in San Diego. It kicked off basically the triathlon season in San Diego. I want to say there were about 1,500 athletes that showed up to the event. It was a barbecue. It was an all-day event. It started with wetsuit transition clinics, tire changing clinics. It was a full-day event, and Ross and Mac and John and myself were all at the event. We had a booth. We probably talked to every single one of those athletes. We had a contest that we put on, a tire changing contest, fastest tire changing clinic contest, and somebody walked away, lucky guy walked away with a $100 gift certificate from, I'm drawing a blank, from trisports.com. Yeah. There you go, one of our best sponsors. So that was the kickoff event, and then a few weeks later, on May 6th and 7th, we co-hosted and co-sponsored the Spring Sprint Triathlon, which is where a lot of first-timers and a lot of long-time triathletes in San Diego, a lot of times they target that as their first dust the dust off the bike event, to get back into the habit of transition and triathlon, and that was a pretty successful event. We walked away with a couple of leads, people that want to do IMAZ that we're still working on, and one guy in particular is talking about fundraising for Ironman Kona. I don't know how really he's going to be this year, but maybe next year. So anyway, we're pretty happy with that. And then our next event coming up is another big event that we're co-sponsoring called the San Diego International Triathlon. In the past, the International Triathlon has been a pit stop for the ITU triathlon athletes, the world athletes that compete around the world, to come and they participate in this race. I don't think they're making it a stop this year, but it's a pretty popular race because it's a pretty race-friendly venue, flat and fast. So we're going to have a booth at that, and we'll be rocking recruitment and talking Smile Train through the whole weekend on that. And as you guys know, we're SwimCap sponsors for all of these events, for the series of all the events in San Diego. So every athlete that comes to one of these events has to come through us to get their SwimCap at registration. So it's an opportunity for us to talk to every local athlete and the athletes that are coming from other places as well, about bigger races that they have the opportunity to get into through us. What else? I think that's it. That's what we have coming up. That's our next event.
Brian, you guys have done an awesome job of posting all the photos on Facebook. I was thinking maybe the rest of the team could try to engage more on those as well, but is there anything we could help you on in addition to that?
I think that's a big thing. I like what the marathon folks are doing, posting. Some people are private about their workouts and don't want to post where they're working, don't want to post their Strava, but if there are people that are at events, like Matt does it all the time, Jeff does it all the time, and I see a lot of people doing it. If you're in an event, take pictures. Make sure you share it on the Ironman Facebook page, on any of the Facebook pages. A lot of times I'll share it on all three just to make sure it gets to everybody. I don't think you can overdo that. Sometimes it feels like workout posts might be a little bit overdone, but event posts and people in events, especially when they're wearing Smile Train kit, I think goes a really long way. So, and a lot of these athletes, Julie just sent me somebody today that wants to hook up with athletes in San Diego that's doing one of our, I think doing Berlin or something. A lot of these athletes really want to hook up and they want to know they're not alone. So, you know, they want the camaraderie and the team atmosphere that they get through Smile Train. So I would post early and often.
Perfect. Well, thank you, Brian.
Yep.
Does anybody have any questions for Brian? All righty. The last committee I have is my wife's committee, the Chicago group. Colleen Oakes is on the committee with her. Jordan's not here tonight because she's actually with Julie at an event here in Chicago for the charity partners for the marathon. I know she's been working on a few different things for race day and organizing an event at some point midsummer here, but also trying to look at how we can grow the Midwest awareness for Smile Train as well as events. And it's something I actually talked to Matt Briggs about last night too, because he's in the Ohio area. Like, how can we look at different races? And this weekend we'll be up in Wisconsin with Christina for the Wisconsin 70.3 race Milkman. So it's something to think about down the line and something she's going to be working on. But not any ideas for next year or help from the group, possibly recruit more athletes as we grow the Chicago team. There's 50 athletes now, and if we want to focus on building some of the region out, if you guys have contacts there or folks that you think might want to race for us in the Midwest, we could definitely find some races or race suggestions. It's a possibility to think about. Any questions on Chicago? I know Jordan's not here right now, but I can try my best to answer for her. Sounds like a no, or everyone's on mute. What was that?
I don't have a question specifically about Chicago, but you just brought up a good point that, you know, if people are traveling to places that we have events, or, you know, if you're going somewhere to an event and you're comfortable like sharing that you're going there, like post about that too. So this way, I'm sure there's going to be other people going to that event, but I think it'd just be better for everyone to know, you know, where the ambassadors are traveling to, even if we don't have a formal booth or somewhere, but just so we know, even, you know, staff and ambassadors, just so we're all aware of where they're traveling to, because I think sometimes it seems, you know, obvious that we all know where people are going, but I think sometimes we can feel siloed that we don't actually know who's going to what. So posting about where you're going to could be really helpful.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, Lindsay,
go ahead.
Sorry, I was just going to jump in. Lindsay, I think you were overhearing John and my thoughts through the meeting. We were actually kind of piggybacking on your idea about getting the individuals to post in the Facebook groups about which races they're doing. And I think it would be great if we could get maybe a master list of where our ambassadors are racing, so we know, and we can obviously do shout outs for our ambassadors, but also kind of, I think Lisa, your co-chair, had a great point that we are getting big enough that we're starting to have alumni at different races throughout the year. So if we have an alumni in a race, and again, like you said, if they're comfortable, could we do an informal group picture, at transition or something like that? So I think it's an excellent point where we can really do something small that doesn't cost much, that can help with more of the engagement of our overall program.
Yeah, and even small, like local races. I mean, I know some of us are in cities that have more races than not, but like especially here in New York, we have, races that there's tons of alumni that we found out that they're at, but, just posting, I'm doing this race or I'm doing that race, people in San Diego or Chicago or New York, I'm sure somebody else eventually will be doing similar races, because like you said, we are getting big enough. So if you're traveling or if you're doing local races or anything, I think someone said, I don't think you can really overshare with how much you're posting. I think people are just getting more comfortable, and it's definitely fostering better conversations. So keep it up.
All right, so everyone, you've been tasked with this weekend to make sure you share what races you're doing on Facebook, and especially if you're traveling. I will say, when Brian and Jeff post photos of San Diego in the winter, I wish I was there, so it's always great seeing it. We have a couple minutes left here. Is there any questions lingering out there? And then we'll start wrapping it up. All right, it sounds pretty quiet, but I guess the big thing tonight, I want to thank everyone for getting together, and thank you for all the work and the time you're putting in and helping kids all over the world with Clef. It goes a heck of a long way, and the more we do and all the little stuff makes a huge difference in the end as this team comes together. And I know the whole group situation and being on different teams, it sort of sounds like we all work together for the same cause, and the more we get together and have these discussions, the better it'll get, and the more we'll grow, even though we'll see some growing pains along the way. I appreciate everyone's patience and everyone's feedback and working together to make that happen as we grow as a team, which is pretty awesome. So big thank you to everyone there. We do have some takeaways from today's meeting, which we'll organize in an email. But my quick list from my sloppy writing, the first one is recruiting. Make sure you guys are recruiting at everything you do. Small events, big events. If you need flyers, let us know. We'll get it out there. Email ideas for fundraising ideas to Jeff and Amanda. If you put on a unique fundraising event, we want to hear about it. Maybe it's something we could post on Facebook at some point in time, but it's something we can share that may encourage someone who's struggling with fundraising to take that idea and run with it. So think about that. Make sure you're posting your races and where you're traveling to. There might be some overlap with other team members to get together. So if you're racing this weekend, let's see it on Facebook. Let's see it on Instagram. Also, I think the last one was business ideas. If you have any business ideas for sponsorships, get it over to Scott. But again, we'll organize this in an email so it's easy to see and you guys can follow it. So big thank you tonight. And Christina, thank you for organizing, and Sarah with the WebEx. A little bit of a hassle to get started, but we made it happen. So big thank you.
And thank you, John, for leading the meeting.
You guys are welcome. It's a great group, so I'm excited to see the year ahead with everyone. And if there's anything else or any questions, you guys let us know, but have a good evening.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, John. Thanks, guys.
Night, everybody.